Hey y'all, it's Reap here, back with another Warframe video. It's been a while. Last video was our tier list, and I've been wanting to make Warframe content for a while, just haven't gotten around to it. But today I think I'm going to revisit the topic of Kuva Liches, and I'm going to make a complete guide for you guys for this year, since in somewhat of celebration for Technocyte Coda coming out with Warframe 1999 next month, the infested version of Kuva Liches. And I know that the Technocyte Coda isn't going to function exactly like Kuva Liches or Sisters of Parvos, but I figured I would pump out this refresher video as just for the hell of it, showcase how I do my Kuva Liches and how you should ideally be doing them so they don't ever hit rank 5. Because the way I do my Kuva Liches, they always almost end up dying as rank 3. Rank 2 if you're lucky, rank 4 if you're unlucky. Same with Sisters of Parvos. So let's get into this. So before you actually want to start hunting a Kuva Lich, the first thing you need to make sure you have is a decent supply of Requiem mods for your Parazon, as Requiem mods are how you can actually kill your Lich. If you do not have any, your Lich is immortal, and many people have gotten Liches and just never gotten rid of them. And in the old days of Kuva Liches, they could take over almost your entire star chart. And people would just get the resources stolen by them forever because they didn't know how to kill them. So you need an adequate supply of Requiem mods for your Parazon before you actually start Lich hunting. As you can see here, I have quite a lot of Requiem mods. I have some that I've used already here. These are all my unused ones. I have them in stacks of 3, 2, and 5 wildcard mods. So these are the things you want to have before you even attempt to fight a Lich, as if you don't have them, you literally cannot kill it. And you are the only one who can kill your own Lich. No one else can do it for you. You can be taxied to your Lich's nodes if you somehow don't have access to node, but no one else can kill your Lich. You are the one who has to mercy it and kill it. So before you do anything, you have to get Requiem mods, which you get from Requiem relics. And those Requiem relics are dropped from Kuva Siphons and Kuva Floods. Kuva Siphons give you a partial chance of getting a Requiem relic. The Kuva Floods give you a guaranteed chance. And then you can also have a small chance at having a Requiem relic drop from a Hound or from a Kuva Thrall when you mercy them while you're hunting your Lich. And then to open those Requiem relics, I recommend going to Kuva Survival Fissures in the Kuva Fortress so you can actually farm those Requiem mods. Once you have the Requiem mods, you're ready to go spawn your Lich. And I will show you how to do just that. So the node that people usually use to spawn a Lich is right here, Cassini Saturn. This is a capture mission. Usually takes no more than 1 minute. Depending on your loading times, you'll get into the mission at whatever time it loads you in. Once you're here, the first thing you want to do is go kill that capture target. once the capture target is dead, wait, do not go to extraction just yet. You see that flash that just happened there? That means you have to kill enemies. So, kill enemies. I think the threshold is around 20 enemies or so that you have to kill. And it is time-based, but you should have no problem finding enemies to kill. And that red marker right there, that means a Kuva Thrall has spawned. So now you want to go towards the Kuva Thrall. And once you see it, down it, and check the weapon it has before you spawn your Lich. This one has a Kuva Dragoon, which I do not need, so I'm going to extract. And you can keep running this mission over and over again until it gives you the weapon you want. In old days, you didn't even know what weapon it would give you, so you'd have to take a chance, but now you can actually control what weapon you get. So if you end up getting a weapon you do not want from a Lich the first time around, you can just keep running Cassini until you eventually get the weapon you want, and then you can spawn the Lich. So I will come back to you guys once I spawn a Lich with a weapon I actually need. Alright, so I have finally gotten a weapon I want from a Kuva Lich. So, and you're going to want to Mercy it before it dies. So I'm going to Mercy this Kuva Lich, and that means you've got yourself a Lich right there. So now all that's left to do is extract and wait for our Lich to talk to us. So while I'm heading to extraction, may as well explain. Make sure to, once you get the weapon you want or need, make sure to Mercy it before it dies, before it bleeds out, because it will bleed out. Anyways, let's go back to my ship and look at the Lich. Alright, once you close out of this menu, a little pop-up with the Lich's name is going to pop up, and it'll talk to you. Alright, now that you have your Lich, you can click on this icon down here to view its stats. Now, this one is an Impact Lich. Normally I wouldn't recommend getting an Impact Lich because they usually suck. The only reason I have an Impact Lich here is because I'm using this Kuva Karak for Valence Fusion, for something I will show you guys eventually when I get the video out. But these abilities will give the Lich, this element will give the Lich Iron Skin, Grappling Hook, Rhino Stomp, and a random traversal ability. So for these weaknesses, the way I do Liches, we don't normally pay attention to these. Neither with the resistances either. So your weapon bonus can have anywhere from 25 to 60% of elemental bonus. This is a really bad Kuva Lich. And then their quirk doesn't matter. But once you have your Lich, you can go onto the star chart and you will see that it has taken Earth. And level 1 Liches will always take Earth first. Level 2, they will take Mars. Level 3, they will take Ceres. Level 4, they will take Sedna. And level 5, they will take the Kuva Fortress. The way I do Liches, your Lich should never, under any ideal circumstance, hit level 5. There's just way too simple of a way to do it solo as to where your Lich will die before it ever hits rank 5. The only way it will hit rank 5 is if you mess up on something. And all you have to remember to do is switch around your Parazon mods. So now that we've actually got a Lich active, I'll show you guys how to hunt it. Alright, here we are in a Kuva Lich controlled territory mission. So when I hunt my Kuva Liches or Sisters of Parvos, there are missions you want to prioritize over others. I like to do exterminate, survival, disruption, and interception missions to farm my Requiem Murmurs for my Kuva Lich. You can do defense, but defense takes the longest of the three. Or takes the longest out of what I've listed so far, and then the other non-endless ones, the ones that take a shorter amount of time, like capture, are going to spawn less thralls for you. But so I would recommend starting with exterminate, go into survival, then interception, and then defense before you do any other less time-consuming modes. So you'll see that red mark along with a sound effect that will signal that a thrall has spawned. So what you have to do, like I just did there, is knock down the thrall like this, and then use your Parazon to mercy them. And you'll gain progress towards your Requiem Murmur, as you see at the top. And you're going to want to kill every thrall you see, because that means more Murmur progress, which means less grinding for you. And that just dropped in Requiem Relic. So as I said before, hunting Liches in general is just a good way to farm Requiem Relics. But you're going to need Requiem mods to even kill the Lich first, So even though it's a good way of farming Warframe relics, you're still going to want to have some mods ready for when you hunt a Lich. So as you can see here, these missions don't normally take too long. You're just wandering around, killing enemies until a thrall spawns, and then prioritizing that thrall over anything else. And then it takes about an average of, I want to say, 4 to 5 missions before your Lich becomes enraged enough to where it will spawn in your mission. And I will go over what to do when it spawns in your mission when mine actually spawns in. Just gotta find the last 3 enemies here, and then once we get back to the ship, I will show you how you know when the Lich is more likely to spawn in your missions. And it will steal some of your resources as you exit a mission. Sisters of Parvos will only steal credits from you. Kuva Liches will steal pretty much anything from you. And then after each time you kill a thrall, your Kuva Lich's anger meter is going to go up. You see how here it said it was indifferent and it had no bar. Now it has this tiny little red sliver right here. Each time you kill a thrall, this meter will go up. And it will keep going up until your Lich will spawn in, and it will stay like this until it levels up, and then it will go back to being indifferent. So there's nothing else much to show you guys until the Lich actually spawns, apart from Requiem Murmur progress. If you were paying attention, you saw these circles filling up as I killed thralls. This is how you figure out how to kill your Lich. Each of these Requiem Murmurs, there are 3 of them, as they fill up, once they fill up, they will tell you one of the mods in the sequence. You need to get all 3 mods right to kill the Lich. Just because your first unveiled mod is, let's say, Reese, it doesn't mean Reese is going to be in that first slot. There's a bit of trial and error when it comes to Kuva Liches, but not enough to where it warrants them going up to level 5. So I will wait until my Lich spawns and go from there. Now I do just want to point out that normally you will most likely always get your first Requiem revealed before your Lich ever shows up. So what I like to do when I get my first Requiem unveiled is I like to slot it in at the first spot. I will keep the wild card in the second spot for now, but I will likely be changing that, as you'll see later. As I said before, your first Requiem doesn't always mean it's going to be in the first slot, but you may as well try it there, because once you have this, you're going to be starting to run out of missions to actually do on Earth, and you want to test your Requiems against your Lich before it levels up by just clearing all the nodes on the planet, because clearing on the nodes of the planet is like stabbing your Lich without stabbing your Lich. It'll level up without you ever testing your mods on it. So it's better to just test it out than just let it to level up without testing it. So I will be back to you guys once the Lich actually spawns in, and then we'll go from there. Alright, after a while my Kuva Lich has finally spawned, so what you want to do, lower its health like this. Ideally you would want it to stay for a bit, so it can enthrall enemies, but we don't have time for that, so we're going to test. Loke is right. So we're going to test again, Loke and Uhl. It's doing weird Parazon shit. And then we may as well bring it down to its last oh. Well, it doesn't look like it matters all that much. Because, okay, we're going to have to get it to spawn again because of the mission completed. But we do know that Loke and Uhl were in the right spots. Oh wait, it leveled up. Okay, so we do know these two are in the right spots. We could theoretically, and I mean theoretically, have it dead by level 1 if we guess this mod right. But the odds of doing that are pretty low. So we can look at our Parazon, and based on my track record with Kuva Liches, Reese is a pretty good bet, because a lot of sequences usually end up using Reese. So we know Loke is in the right spot. Uhl will take the place of any mod, and we could even switch this around if we wanted to, but now it's just a matter of trial and error. So I will see y'all again when my Kuva Lich spawns again. Alright, the Lich is here again. We may as well level it up because we only have a few nodes left on Earth. And usually your first guess isn't going to be right, even if you get the first two mods correct. Like, you have to be very lucky to kill a level 1 Lich. So let's try it anyway, if I don't get knocked down. Oh my god, it's a level 1 Lich. Okay guys, take my word for it right now. Okay, I'm actually gonna come over here and pause the game. Take my word for it right now. That is very, very lucky. Extremely lucky, actually. That has only happened to me twice before. I have only gotten a level 1 Lich twice in my entire 5 years of Warframe. That is a very, very, very rare occurrence. Normally, Liches will go to at least level 3 with my strategy. But this one was level 1. So ideally... Actually, you know what? I'm going to finish my mission, and then I will explain to you guys how I normally go about Liches, because they never die at level 1, once I'm back in the peace and calm of my Orbiter. See y'all then. Okay, now that we're back in the Orbiter, we may as well go over how a normal Kuva Lich or Sister Parvos actually goes, assuming you don't get the insane luck required to kill a level 1 Lich. So normally, when testing for the first time, if the first mod is right, and your second mod, which will always be the Requiem mod, which will always be the Requiem Ultimatum wildcard. I'm jumbling my words here, but usually if this mod is correct, that's a good thing. You want this mod to be correct. It will not be all the time, but a lot of the time it will be. Like, that's just how Warframe works. So if you can get lucky and get this one correct, and then usually get the wild card correct too, because it's the wild card, you usually want to have it either here or here. So after that, you want to see, well, if these two work, you want to see, well, does this one work? In my case, it did, but usually it won't. So you would have to then figure out another Requiem, and then slot it in here, and then test it against your Lich again. If it's still wrong, that means you gotta put your second known Requiem into here, and then this would be the correct order. However, for the first test at level 1, if this one isn't right, that's indicative of bad luck. Because if this one isn't right, then then I would usually just go for Uhl right there. But I like to have a actual Requiem mod right here. So if you get the first one wrong, I would usually try to figure out the other Requiem mods and slot it in here. And if it's wrong again at level 2, it'll go to level 3, so you'll at least know your first Requiem mod. So then you can test with a wild card in the second slot, and then the third one in the third slot. And if it's wrong again, it'll go to level 4. Keep in mind, this is if you are extremely unlucky. Usually Liches will give you enough luck to where you are going to kill them at level 3 and not level 4. But if it's wrong again, then you just switch these two around and you're golden. You'll kill the Lich at level 4. In super lucky cases like mine, you don't have to do anything. In level 2 instances, usually you'll get these two mods right, get this one wrong, and then if you're lucky enough, you'll switch another one here and get it right. Level 3 is a balance of the two. So now that I've hopefully explained that somewhat well to you guys, let's actually go and kill this thing and show you what to do with Kuva weapons once you got them. Alright, every Kuva Lich or Sister of Parvos confrontation takes place in Railjack. So for Kuva Liches, you'll get a standard Saturn Proxima skirmish mission, where you have to kill upwards of 50 fighters and destroy 3 cruise ships before you can actually board the galleon. This, and for Sisters of Parvos, you can see my video on them, which probably needs updating, but Sisters and Kuva Liches are very, very similar to each other. So So we have to cruise through these objectives before we can do anything to the Lich. Usually this doesn't take long, you can just fire off a few secret volleys and the fighters will be taken care of. And then you got to destroy the 3 cruise ships with forward artillery. Usually I like to let all 3 of them spawn in, and then abuse artillery cheap shot, so I can just destroy all 3 of them at once. I'm trying to get the last cruise ship to spawn in by just flying towards the galleon. Doesn't seem like it wants to spawn in though, so I'm just gonna destroy those 2 in the distance first. And then you see my forward artillery isn't using any charges. That's because you want to have artillery cheap shot, so you can do this faster. And then the 3rd cruise ship has spawned just slightly out of my line of view, so I gotta reposition the railjack. And then blow the cruise ship up. And now, with all the side objectives done, you can pilot your railjack towards the galleon and board it. Now, since this Kuva Lich is level 1, it will be a very fast kill. But if you abuse things like Banshee and her sonar with the Fenmore, you can still melt the health bar of a level 5 Kuva Lich. Then again, your Kuva Lich should not be level 5 under any circumstances. So, but we're gonna melt this thing's health bar. That was a very long introduction. Anyway, it used roar. Get out of the way, Thrall. Alright, Lich is down. Now you just walk up to it. It's in the floor. You'll get a choice to either convert it or vanquish it. If you want the weapon, vanquish it. If you want to make it a railjack crew member, you can convert it. But there's not much use to converting unless you want to trade the Lich or use it as a railjack crew member. So you almost want to vanquish it almost every time for the weapon. And now that that's done, we can just teleport back to the railjack. And that's your Kuva Lich done. Now you just go back to the dry dock, and you'll have a Kuva weapon waiting for you in your foundry. And an ephemera too, if the Kuva Lich had an ephemera. Usually they don't. It's only a 20% chance, and it's not like you can... Kuva Liches take it on their own at least an hour to do, so... that 20% chance kind of becomes pretty... what's the word? Like, even rarer than it usually is. So now we can leave the dojo. And there's my daily reward. Don't mind that. But you'll get an email from Ortis about your Kuva Lich. And then go to your foundry and I don't know why it does this, but it's not supposed to do this. Recently, like, things that are supposed to instantly be claimable from the foundry will have, like, negative build on it. So, but you'll be able to get your Kuva weapon. And there you go. You have a Kuva weapon. And all Kuva and Tenet weapons, whatever type they are, need to be formed 5 times to get them to the max rank of 40. You do not want to get rid of a Kuva weapon or a Tenet weapon before it is rank 40, because if you do, that means you just wasted your precious time of killing a Lich and your Requiem charges on your mods to get a weapon that you didn't even rank all the way. And in order to rank it all the way again, you have to kill another Lich with that same weapon. So please don't make that mistake. And then, now there's one last thing we have to go over before the Kuva Lich guide is done. Alright, the last thing we have to go over for Kuva Liches is Valence Fusion. So Valence Fusion is the process of combining 2 Kuva weapons or Tenet weapons together to boost your elemental damage bonus. So not come with a very good elemental bonus. So you're gonna, if you want to use that weapon regularly in higher level content, you're gonna have to do some Valence Fusions. So here you can see I have 2 Kuva Karaks for something I will show you guys later once I have a video out for it. But I have two Kuva Karaks. So to do Valence Fusion, you go into the modding screen and then press Actions, and here it'll say Valence Fusion. Dismantle a matching weapon to transfer a boosted version of its innate damage bonus to this weapon. So you do this, click the other weapon, and then you'll get a choice between your elemental damage. For my Kuva Karak, I am doing magnetic, so I am going to keep the magnetic on this one and ignore the impact on the other one. So doing this will boost my innate damage boost from 54.7% to the max 60%. So doing this Valence Fusion will consume the other Kuva Karak and make this one stronger. And you can do that with every Kuva and Tenet weapon in the game. I wouldn't recommend going to 60% on all of them because there are a lot of Kuva and Tenet weapons that are pretty hit or miss. But for the ones you do want to use, it is definitely a plus. And that is pretty much it for the Kuva Lich guide. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I tried to make it a lot more high quality than my other videos. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you when Technocyte Coda comes out. See you guys in December, and I'll probably upload some videos here and there too. Don't worry. Later.